Start recording. Hi there. Hi, I'm Renee Hobbs, and welcome to COM 416 Propaganda. Wow. Prepare to have your mind blown. I think that's the only way to describe tonight's class. I'm really thrilled to be able to introduce a guest lecturer tonight, Zoey Wang. Zoey's in the third year of the PhD program in education. She is a media educator with and a YouTube personality with a lot of interest in creativity and human development and a technological age. Zoey, I'm going to turn it over to you because you are the guest instructor tonight. Take it away.
Great. Hello, everybody. I'm Zoey Wang. No need to introduce myself anymore. Tonight, we're going to talk about Chinese propaganda. And as we've all known that Chinese is very known for their propaganda policies and techniques. So tonight, I'm just going to be the discussion leader, and it's all about what you have learned and what you think about Chinese propaganda. All right. First of all, let me just kind of give a little bit of background about Chinese propaganda. I'll lead you through maybe kind of timeline where China's government has been controlling the propaganda system. So as we know, the
Zoey, are you sharing slides or no at this point? Because I'm just going to pin. If not, it's okay.
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 How about we look at the timeline of China under the Communist Party?
Okay, cool. I'll do that while you talk.
Okay.
Let me see if I can just share my screen here.
Mm-hmm.
That takes me to the last class, right?
Or I can share my screen.
Okay, can you do that and talk at the same time?
Yes.
Okay, here go. I'll stop sharing.
All right, I'll share my screen.
All right, while we're getting our technology, we definitely there we go. Beautiful.
Okay.
Your screen looks great. Thanks.
So the most important thing that we wanted to remind everybody is China, the Communist Party of China, they're the one who controls the Chinese government, right? And back in the late 19th century, China has gone through this whole array of war that started by the Westerners. And after that, we know that China was involved in World War II, and then the war is not it's not ended there yet. There's also China's civil war, where the Chinese Communist Party fight against Jiang Jiechi's party, and then the Communist Party of China has won the war and has controlled the mainland China. Okay, that's where the People's Republic of China has started. But before that, the Communist Party of China was founded in 1922, and throughout the wartime, they have discovered how propaganda can bind people together and fight against their enemies, right? And so, looking at the timeline, October 1st, 1949, the China's Republic of China has founded. And by that time, the leader of the Communist Party and also the government is Chairman Mao Zedong. I believe that most of you have heard of him.
Yeah.
And right? And at that time, he is kind of this leader, and there's a cult-like admiration of Chairman Mao. And by that time, China's economy was really weak after the war. And the whole guideline of, the management of the country is to promote the productivity of the country. So in 1958, Mao has launched this Great Leap Forward campaign, which is supposedly to promote the productivity and get everybody to work on produce more produce, things like that. And then this Great Leap Forward movement has been kind of developed into a cult kind of campaign. And then the Cultural Revolution has begun. So at that time, China has gone through a kind of revolution within the country it's not really fight against capitalism. It's kind of developed as fight against each other. Mm-hmm. And then there's development of China's international image. And as we can see, China has developed, the relationship with the United States. China's finally has recognized by the world due to its development, right? And then after Mao dies, Deng, who were kind of punished by his open policy ideas, stepped onto the leadership position. So he has, promoted this open door policy, which really promotes the China's economic system, and to build up the kind of domestic growth, which also promoted promoted China's image in the world. And we're just going to go through this like really briefly. We have heard of the Tiananmen Square crackdown, which kind of revealed how China's government has been promoting the stability concept, right? And this Tiananmen Square event just kind of revealed how the unstable status would damage, their governing. And by the time of,
the
2000s, China's economic growth has been really successful, led by the Communist Party of China. And we have and as the economic growth, the image of, China's power has grown, as well as, the whole international climate has changed. There's a new generation of leadership, cultural and political ideas, concepts has coming into the China's society. All right. And then there has been incident, to review the local government corruptions. And then there are also success in building up the Chinese image in the world. And by 2010, Chinese economy has hit the milestone and surpassed Japan, become the world's second largest economy. And due to the open world policy, there are Western enterprises coming in, investment, and also concept or ideas and Western culture coming in. So China's society has come into a new generation. And of course, as a new leadership, Xi Jinping take over, there's a whole array of the propaganda, which in Chinese they call 宣传, which is kind of a euphemism for propaganda.
宣传.
Yeah, 宣传.
宣传.
Yeah. So through the timeline of Chinese political, economic, and cultural changes, we can see that China's society is China's kind of governing or propaganda system is really tied into first economic growth, and second the image of their international impact and their international power in the world, and also cultural changing in the society, right? Okay, that has kind of set up the kind of background of how does it look like in China's society, right? And all right.
So Zoe, you're saying the two big things in terms of thinking about the history are this great economic growth,
Mm-hmm.
brought a lot more people into the middle class and really created a big engine for the size of the economy.
Right.
And then also this concern with bolstering China's reputation to the Western world, sort of diminishing stereotypes and presenting a more realistic perspective.
Yeah, and the success of China's economic growth as well as their international power is kind of a statement of how China's Communist Party and Chinese government has worked in the Chinese society.
Got it. Well, it's one reason why when you gave us these videos to watch, you gave us two really talk about getting whiplash, right? I've got one video where the guy is a real critic of the Chinese government, and he's making jokes and putting down the 7 old men and all that. And then you show me another video, and this video actually makes the Communist Party seem like a more ethical and socially responsible group of people who are actually making decisions in a really thoughtful and smart way, and a very respectful, deep appreciation that propaganda might actually be a good thing.
Yeah.
And government control of the media might actually be a good thing. So what's up with these two wildly different perspectives? And I'm dying to hear what the students thought of that.
Yeah. How about we do a kind of review and discussion about these two videos that we have watched during the past week. All right. Any thoughts or any questions about these two videos?
Unsave your screen so I can see you again.
Okay. Stop sharing. All
Good
right.
job. All right. Now I see all the tiles, my amazing mosaic. I love that. There are 10 of us here today.
Okay. So anyone want to have any thoughts, questions about those videos? What you like about it? What you don't like about it? Wow, you realize that you didn't know before, and now you might have a different perspective. Yeah, Mara, are you raising your hand?
I wasn't, but
okay.
I guess I could lead it off. I was curious for the one who controls China's propaganda. Obviously the guy who was leading the chat there was a clear opinion on things, but I was just curious if it was part of his sarcasm or not when he in the beginning was saying, what you might not know. Like, I don't understand why it would be so surprising that they have a propaganda department. Like, I don't know if that was just him being facetious or not. I was curious if you thought that was intended, like if he was actually saying people don't know this, or if he was just being facetious.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I think that's part of he's sarcasm, right? Because he is absolutely a American, and he has gotten all the one thing that I don't know if you have noticed, where does he get all his sources about all these things happening in China?
Where?
Right?
Where?
Yeah, where?
He never tells us.
He never tells us.
Yeah, at one point he says something. I put it in the annotated notes, Zoe. He said something, and I'm like, that was the first time it hit me. Oh, I wonder if this is actually true. Because for some reason, I believe comedy news. I've been trained by Jon Stewart.
Exactly,
right?
yeah. So that's one thing you have to think about. And he is just American, and he have this kind of, obviously he's using a green screen, like having this background of China in here. But is he really in China? And where does he know all these things? And where did he structured all of this whole bunch of opinions about it, right?
Well, so I wonder, was he more believable or less believable than the highly polished professional Chinese journalists and experts telling us how great government control is? Was that believable?
I would tell you this. I am kind of Chinese kind of educated from my first 20 years. And then I have been educated in the United States for the past 4 or 5 years. And I have a mixed opinion on why this is, if this is believable, or which one is believable, right? Obviously, that if you know Chinese audiences, they would tell you a different opinion. They would not agree about what he was said.
Oh, really? They would not agree with the comedian at all?
They would not agree 100%.
Would they not agree because it would disrupt the social stability, even if they actually did agree? They just can't realize that they agree?
Well, that, I mean, yes. That's very complicated questions, because knowing all Americans have been educated, that's another thing that is very complicated, because we didn't talk about the education as a propaganda. Because in China, all through elementary and secondary schools, they tell you about how the Chinese political system works and why it works, and they compare Chinese kind of communist or socialist system that's different and better than the Western society, and why we're doing this. So the Chinese people have their kind of mindset of this is
superiority.
Yeah, superiority. This is working.
Wow.
And I'm not saying that's 100% true, but just think about, as you guys Americans, think about what have you been told all through your elementary and secondary education. And if you have been set in a mindset that's, kind of against a different political system. So I'm not saying which one is right, which one is better. I'm just, saying that we need to think things in a different perspective.
Cool. Kailyn.
Yep.
Oh, I was just noticing Matt in the chat, and how he said he was surprised about how much their media cares about the truth. And that's something that I really got out of the other end of the whiplash in the 2 videos that had the Chinese people talking about how their government really cares about the truth, and how they kept saying Western media, how Western media is more, and at least I thought about our media and how we talk about getting everyone's opinion, and sometimes we'll try to be the first ones to cover a story and then worry about corrections later, like we already talked about earlier in the course, instead of really finding the truth and making sure everything's correct.
Yeah, boy, Kailyn, I was also similarly moved by that great part of the video where they say, look, if you get the story out too fast and get it wrong, there's going to be a lot of negative consequences. And if you just wait, that's being truly socially responsible. I found that part of the video to be definitely rattling around in my brain for days afterwards.
Cool. Yeah, Mara.
Francesca.
Well, one of the things I thought was really interesting from the reading also was that China has its own government like branch or that controls their propaganda. That I thought was like really crazy, which I commented on in the reading.
Yeah. So the CC, what's it called, Zoe?
The CPC?
The CPC, the Communist
Party of China. Yeah.
China. And what's the name of the official propaganda TV network? The
CCTV. CCTV is the state-owned television station for a long time. It is the only TV station that was running in China.
Wow. Francesca, I saw you had your hand up. What's your comment or question?
Yeah, so I was also disturbed by the New York Times. I don't know if that's like something that everybody knows, but I didn't know that, and that was so disturbing, especially because the New York Times is something that people are told is like a very reliable source. And it really, and I looked all that stuff up, and that person now works for Fox News, which is crazy to me. And so I think that with China, they're so open about the fact that they have a thing about propaganda. Like, they're so open with the fact that they do this stuff. But, like, in America, it's so secretive. So it's weird.
What a great point. I'm so glad that you have this very critical thinking.
Wow, there you have nailed it, Francesca. The ironies. Nikita.
Yeah, and I was thinking the same thing, like when the American opened up that video with like, can you believe China has this like committee for propaganda? I was thinking like, doesn't the US? It's just more subtle. And immediately I was skeptical of everything he said, and because he was an American, like commenting on Chinese propaganda, I mean, that was another reason to be like, who are you and where did you get this information? But yeah, I thought that was kind of wild.
Fantastic. Oh, wow. I'm so glad
Hong-Yan.
Yeah. We have another Chinese expert. What's your opinion on this?
I'm not a Chinese expert in media, but I feel that there's a reason for our government to control the media and control the Western influence on our China, because there are always there's always time in the history that the foreign the foreigners interfere with Chinese people's human rights, and we also have some trouble in a place like Xinjiang province. There are always some foreigners interfere with people's life there and try to get them to about human rights, or try to interfere our stability, you know. And also the problem with Taiwan and with Hong Kong, you know, there are always somebody or some foreign country to influence people's mindset, and also people and the harmony in China. So that is why, I mean, Chinese government is they don't want they don't want foreign countries to interfere our stability and our harmony. I think that is the reason why. And also, when I came here in the States, I found that there is always critical judgment on, like New York Times always judge on China, and always something bad about China. But in China, maybe that is the media, that is news. There's always report something bad about each country. But in China, when I was in China, I didn't realize, you know, I think China is great, you know. But when I come here, the New York Times always report something bad about China, you know.
So the first time you've heard bad news is when you actually left the country?
When I left the country, but I realized how American like media like try to criticize China so much, and I don't know that when I was in China actually.
Very interesting.
So you gained knowledge, you gained awareness of media bias. Yeah, as you moved from country to country. I'd love to hear if other students have experienced that. Have you guys become aware of American bias by your travel or your life experiences? So Hong-Yan experienced it just through life. Have you experienced that way, Kailyn?
Well, this isn't me personally, but my best friend studied abroad in Australia last year, and it was kind of when the election was starting, like when Trump was starting to become a real candidate, and people thought it was like such a joke, and they were like, "How? Like, oh, you're from America?" Like all this stuff about Trump. It was like our political system was becoming like such a big joke to them, and it's kind of like being from New Jersey. And people compare you to like the Jersey Shore. It's funny how like other countries get information in that like tailors their idea of like the whole thing.
Wow. Great example. Great example. Okay, Zoe, what else are we going to talk about tonight?
So we've talked about this American YouTuber video about who controls Chinese propaganda and the China's CCTV's video. I want to hear a little bit about how you guys think about the Chinese New Year Time for Reunion video. It's a short video.
The dancing, psychedelic, weird thing with the mandalas and the dancers?
Exactly. What do you guys think about that? You know, we can, connect with the article that we talked about, the Spring Gala, right? Spring Festival Gala. So, yeah, Mira?
Was that the opening? Yes, Matt writes, great piece of nationalist propaganda.
Mm-hmm.
It does make you feel very warm and fuzzy about all the different parts and all the different traditions of China.
Exactly. Yeah. Mira, were you going to say something?
I was just wondering if if there was any underlying propaganda technique to the reason why. I think I tried to do a pause of it. I noticed that I forgot exactly the time difference, but I think it was, they definitely spent the most on, it was like, I wrote it, where did I put it? I can't remember. Oh yeah, so there was like 30 seconds on Northern China, just over a minute on Southern, 23 on Eastern, and like only about 16 seconds on Western. And I know like Western is kind of like but I'm just curious, is that a deliberate thing? Do you think that, or is it just literally?
Mira, I've given you the prize for like most fascinating question. Yes, some segments were longer. Does that reflect the relative importance of those countries?
What do you think? I mean,
but yeah.
That's a very good observation. I am really fascinated about this, your observation. Yes, and so there is a kind of, not as important, but there are less people that live in the West. So there are, yeah.
So Hong Yan, so here we have right in the room a Westerner and an Easterner. As Zoe is from Beijing and Hong Yan is from Western China. And as Matt notes in his chat, Western China is more rural. Hong Yan, do you think that the Spring Festival galas represent Western China fairly, accurately, and with enough depth, or is the bias tend toward the other regions?
I didn't watch the West. I didn't watch the Spring Festival this year. Program this year. So
because you were in the U.S., so really you couldn't watch the Spring Festival gala. In years past, has it seemed like it was fair?
I didn't get the question. Can you ask me again, Renee? Explain to me.
I'm not even sure. Do you watch in previous years when you were growing up?
Yeah, every year we watch it, and before midnight, from 10 o'clock, from 8 o'clock to 12 o'clock. It's about 4 hours. So we watch every.
It's the only thing on TV at that time, right? You don't have a choice but to watch it, right?
But there was almost, because every channel is the CCTV.
Every channel is broadcasting the Spring Festival gala.
Yeah, that is
just
true.
Like Americans are going, whoa.
Yeah, that is true, and people are looking forward to watch it. I mean, it's kind of a New Year activity. So on one day before New Year, so everyone is watching the Chinese Spring Festival programs. So that is kind of a routine for people to do for New Year.
So I wonder if the students can tell us what kind of propaganda bias is embedded in the Spring Festival gala. Like, how is propaganda involved in that? It's entertainment, right?
Yeah, it is entertainment, and also it's entertainment and also propaganda. I mean, from Chinese government to show that how good our country is, and to show that we are making progress in everything. Yeah, it's kind of propaganda, but I think it represents China in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron.
I think that just the fact that it's on every channel is a bias in itself. And I was like, just thinking quickly, like what in America would have something like that. And the only thing I could think of was maybe the Olympics when they're on. It's on like a lot of channels and not on every channel. But then that goes with what Hanyan just said, like showing how great America is. Because you never see like, maybe if it's some obscure sport that's on an obscure channel at an obscure time, it's not American. But if it's something that's like, I don't know, the hockey game or the gymnastics, like it's prime time.
Mm-hmm.
Or if it's like a big national, like news, like something really dramatic happening that affects the entire country, everything gets. So, but I wonder, given the whole like, due diligence of China media, if something like blatantly, like, extremely level happened, do they take over everything then, or do they have to go all the vetting and really got to make sure?
Good question for breaking news, Mira.
Yeah.
You're wondering, is that kind of comprehensive, door-to-door coverage the same? Francesca.
I like Matt's comment on how it creates like a collectivist culture, and I'm thinking about it and I feel like Chinese propaganda is so happy, and if you think about like our propaganda, it's so like aggressive, and it's really cool to see like a culture that's it emphasizes like happiness and like, I don't know, depth. I don't know, cool stuff. I liked it.
I think that is so far that's the Twitter for tonight. Their propaganda is happy. Ours is aggressive. Very quotable.
Very, very, very impressive. You guys are just rocking the night. Absolutely. Just want to give you one background. The reason why this tradition of every single station is broadcasting this gala is because, like I said, for a long period of time, for maybe like 20 years, China has only one TV station, and there's very limited entertainment program. And Chinese Spring Festival Gala has created this tradition where and this culture where Chinese people looking forward to this one-time entertainment in a year. So it has developed this tradition, and that's one of the reasons why it's so important to Chinese culture. And because of the high attention on this gala, I think the Chinese government has used this venue as an opportunity to promote how successful the Chinese Communist Party has been governing, right?
Zoe, that makes me think a lot about what we're going to be talking about next in terms of the readings, because when we turn to the reading about the question of propaganda and censorship in social media, I was completely ready to be told, oh yeah, there's tons of censorship in social media and everything's clamped down and it's totally government controlled. And so what a surprise to learn that social media is not locked down in China, and there's lots of diverse perspectives. Maybe we can turn to some small group dialogue about the readings. I'm gonna share my screen. Mm-hmm. And Zoe, can you introduce these questions that we're going to try to have a small group conversation about?
Absolutely. So those readings that we read last week, I want each group to kind of discuss these questions about, like, how does China's interpretation of soft power different from a Western approach to power and political communication? Because we read about the soft power concept is introduced by the U.S., right, the Western culture. Mm-hmm. And we'll talk about that. And then what did you learn about censorship, and what is that different from what you've known before, like Renee has said, it surprises her, right? And how did the CPC, Chinese Communist Party of China, incorporated soft power as a nation building through propaganda? And what have you learned about Chinese national broadcaster, the state-owned CCTV and Spring Festival Gala? We kind of talked about a little bit about this, and how does the SFG embedded propaganda to the entertainment? We have also talked about that. And what is this? How is it similar or different from American television shows? We talked about the variety and things like that. And what role does China's social media play in terms of surveillance, control, and as well as propaganda? Okay, we're gonna break into groups now, Renee.
Yep.
And we're gonna talk about these questions. Yeah.
And so we're going to take about how long? How many minutes, Zoe? About 7 minutes, maybe 6 minutes, 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
All right. Great. All right. We'll talk about it and we'll come back and discuss a little bit more. All right.
Well, if this is like usual, then Francesca, you and I are going to be here again. All right. Andre. Okay. Oh, nope. There we go. Everybody. Good.
Okay.
All right. That worked out all right.
Yeah. Okay. Let me find the questions.
I'm putting them back up on the screen there.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Which one do you want to talk about?
Well, the first one, because I read that, the soft power, that is so interesting how that's kind of their tactic. Instead of like ours, we're very militarized and like money based, and theirs is like soft power. Like even the word, I kind of like soft power.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting about this, a way of unifying and making people feel part of something larger than themselves, right? It's like a very human, it's a brilliantly human value that we want that. And it's so intriguing that the Chinese kind of took our concept of soft power and warped it into actually kind of something I think is actually kind of better.
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of really positive. Like even if it is manipulative, like we talk about good and bad, it's like positive manipulation in like a broad scale.
It's really hard to admit that too, I think.
Yeah.
It's sort of like, I think we've been socialized. This goes back to the question of what have you learned about Chinese censorship that's so different than what you know before. I have been so deeply indoctrinated to be anti-Chinese, and that that's just part of my generation and the era. I didn't almost want to think that they have an open sort of space to comment and to talk about stuff on social media. I kind of wanted to feel like, oh yeah, you can't even say the word Tiananmen, right? Or you're going to be arrested.
Yeah.
Right? That was my expectation. So, and the fact that research study that reported that did measure in a very systematic way. Holy moly. Like they used a rigorous procedure to check whether or not there was censorship in all the different forms of social media. So the quality of the research was strong, I thought, and that made it even more persuasive. So it's like, it's a myth that the social media channels are blocked. But remember, only 50% of Chinese have social media.
Mm.
So that's a lower percentage than we have. So I was kind of thinking, I wonder if that level of censorship might change as more and more people go online.
Yeah. It was very fascinating. I didn't realize that they are trying to even like it's not an internal thing, but it's also an external thing. I know that. Like, I don't think we hear that much about China. At least, like, I don't, not from the. So that was shocking to me that's like one of their main goals with the soft power is like a global, like, mind change. I don't know.
And it's complicated, that idea of soft power is there's like a paradox there, because as much as they want to project that view out to the world, at the same time, like you said, China is like isolated, right? They don't use YouTube, they don't use Facebook. They don't use, so it's almost like, I never really thought of China as an island until this set of readings, and that started making me think a lot about, inside the island, you have complete control over the story you tell and the way. It makes sense that it would be good for development, right? To have a rah rah, go team go, let's all push together, right?
Yeah.
And be a new country. So in a lot of ways, we did that too. Now we're just old and tired, and we're fighting amongst ourselves, and we can't get anything done, and it's all falling apart. It's so depressing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so I think, like, even though it's like them kind of trying to, at least like soft powers, their way of trying to like culturally take over the world, I still am kind of like, this is kind of cool. I don't know, like, I would never, this is blowing my mind, this stuff. It's
when I went to China the first time, I remember having this kind of like freak out, because it was such a modern city. It was cleaner and prettier than New York, right? And it seemed highly efficient, and everybody was so nice. And I was like, whoa, this is this is a nicer place to live.
Yeah.
But of course, I didn't see the poor people, and I didn't get out beyond the center. And I was probably fed a lot of propaganda by the tourism industry too. So who knows? Anyway, Yeah, I feel like the paradoxes of Chinese propaganda are just, I don't know. Maybe it's what we need. Maybe this kind of propaganda is what our country needs.
That's what I'm thinking. It's just so positive, and I think we could really use a dose of positive and something that creates more community right now, because we don't do so well in that department. So cool.
We don't do so well in that department.
Yeah.
So our team started wondering if maybe we needed a dose of positive propaganda like the Chinese.
Gosh, we've been talking in Chinese.
What did you guys talk about?
All kinds of propaganda in China. It's interesting that, Hong Yan is a Chinese educated, and how she thinks about, Americans all talking about bad things about China. And Americans might think about, what Chinese government do is wrong. So it's all about the pre-constructed propaganda. They're all in our mind already.
They're all in our minds. It's exactly right. Now, Zoe, we have only 15 minutes remaining, and so we have two cool things we could do, but we probably can't do them both. You have invited us to watch an unbelievably interesting video produced by the New York Times about the way that WeChat, social media, is changing everything in the technology world. And we also discussed this idea of brainstorming a meme campaign.
Yep.
If you had to say, Zoe, which one you want to do? Talk about the video or play the simulation game. What's your choice?
I'm more lean to this simulation game.
Me too.
Yeah.
We have the 10 most creative students in the class with us today,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
What the hell? Let's have it. Let's play brainstorming simulation. Take it away, Zoe.
Yep. So in this game, pretending that I am the executive director of China's media CCTV. And you guys, I have a budget to produce a media to produce media production to promote Chinese culture, okay, Chinese propaganda. So, and you guys, we're gonna break you guys into groups, and you're gonna have how many? Like maybe 5 minutes or so?
I think we need a good 5 minutes.
Okay, so 5, 6, maybe 7. I don't know. So to brainstorm and plan a meme campaign to say about pro-Chinese message, and to attract and hold my attention to kind of campaign to fight against each other about the budget. Okay, so see how you guys can, win this campaign and get this budget to
So
be.
Zoe, let me see if I understand the task.
Yep.
You want the students to work with a partner, and you want them to pretend like they are basically in the advertising or media industry working for CCTV.
Mm-hmm.
And the goal is, what kind of memes can you create that's pro-Chinese propaganda, especially to teenagers and young adults who might be a little bit envious of Western culture? Chinese kids who might be thinking, wow, the West is really cool. And what kind of meme campaign might make them feel great about China?
Yes.
Okay, so, whoa, that is crazy. Let's see what questions students have before we break them up into teams and make them play with the memes. Oh, give me a thumbs up if you've made a meme before. Come on.
Yeah?
No? Okay, so for those of you who are meme virgins, just let me say, welcome to the hilariously fun and playful experience of creating memes. Click on the link to the meme generator. Put in a couple of words on the top, a couple of words on the bottom, hit play, and you've created a meme. Scroll through the existing memes and work on them, but think. You're trying to communicate about the core values of China. And Zoe, what are those core values?
The core values, as we said, harmony.
Harmony.
Yeah. The great Chinese, where history is great, strong.
Strong history.
Mm-hmm.
Economic development through hard
growth. We're new power. The next century is China.
The Chinese century.
Yes.
The Chinese century rocks. Okay, give me a thumbs up if you know what you know what you're doing. Come on, you know. Have fun with it. I am just a second here. I am
breaking you down.
Letting
and after we come back, you have 1 minute to present. Okay, the time is yours. Go.
Okay, what's happening now? So, Francesca.
Hi.
Okay, so are you ready? We're going to the meme generator and we're going to play, all right?
Yes, I am ready.
Okay, there we go. Go team, go. Let's see. Make my screen a little bit bigger here.
And so we're making this for like Chinese adolescents who might be thinking that Western culture is better.
Yeah.
I kind of like that one that your mouse is on because it's like
top text.
Yeah, like I don't know.
Like oops. And then the bottom text needs to be something, I don't know.
I don't know either. I like the one with Woody and Buzz, with Buzz's hand, because I think that it's like,
okay, that's good. To the stars and beyond.
Yeah. Gosh. I don't know. I can't think of anything that doesn't bash America, and I feel like that's not how the Chinese do it. I don't know.
That's an interesting point. Isn't that interesting that your first way to think of this is that's our us them thinking? That's the aggressive stance you were talking about. It's natural for us to do that, isn't it?
Yes. So it's freaking me out. Oh.
Yeah, I agree. So let's say, which one is China? Buzz or Woody?
Buzz is
okay. So I'll be Woody. I'll be America, and you be China.
Okay.
Oh man, we're so tired and old. Our country's falling apart because of Trump.
Yeah, like something about like we're going to take over the world now. Like we'll take care of everything now. Like thanks.
I think we nailed it, girl.
Yeah.
All right, now you're gonna do the pitch, right?
Okay.
Why is this good? What is it gonna be appealing to our target audience? Why youth are gonna love this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you know what I like is that it isn't bashing.
Yeah, it's not. It's just like
it's our turn.
Yeah, it's like we got this.
Yeah.
We'll let you relax now. It's fine.
All right. I'm going to link it to the Twitter.
Okay.
So it's there because I think we're going to win the prize for God's sake. Okay. So I'm just going to Twitter up a storm here. So I guess we just made propaganda. We made Chinese propaganda. Oops, Chinese. Okay, there it is.
Winning.
Okay. I think I'm going to take people out of the room now. Let's see if I can make it go back because, I mean, we're done.
Yeah.
So they should be done. Okay, Kailyn, did you make some propaganda?
I am so excited to see what you guys make.
Okay.
Well, me and Jarrell were like talking about it, and I was trying to focus on harmony and some of these memes. I don't know if it was like gonna be like pro China. Like you have the one with like Kermit sipping his tea, and I was gonna be like, oh, like when people act like they don't know what harmony is and he's just like ignoring them, but I wasn't sure if that was like the point because I felt like that was like being rude.
No, I think that's being playful. And
okay.
Very much so, yeah.
Or like the one with the Dos Equis guy, like I don't always practice harmony, but like when we're in China, like we do. I don't know. Something like that.
Oh, that's a good way to imitate the campaign, Kailyn. I know exactly right. When I'm in China, I'm always harmonious.
Yeah.
Wow, wow. Awesome.
Were we supposed to send it? How do we do it?
You can share your screen. Who wants to share their screen?
How do I do it?
On the bottom of your screen?
Bottom and kind of scroll down.
Hey, okay. All right.
There you go.
All right, well, I gotta find this critter. Hold on.
Okay, share. Who wants to share their screen with us?
Oh, God damn it. Oh, I found it.
Okay.
Oh, good.
I mean, like, it's... Okay, where'd it go?
Okay, I'm going to share. Can you guys see my screen now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to share the screen, and Francesca's going to explain the propaganda.
Okay, so this is ours. It says we'll take over world dominance now, and it's kind of just like America is supposed to be Woody, and then China is supposed to be Buzz, and it's just kind of, we didn't want to bash because we didn't think that Chinese propaganda bashed, but like they're kind of just like, you can relax now. We've got this.
Wow. Wow, you're playing this big brother. And you're mean. Nice. Okay.
All right, who's next?
Who's next?
Share your screen with us.
Okay. I try.
Oh, nice.
Cute.
Talk us through it.
The dog is there?
Yeah, such strong, many history, so harmony, much loyal.
Fabulous.
I don't think I need to explain it.
Oh my God, it's marvelous.
It is.
All right,
Wow.
anybody can top that? That was excellent. You guys are so creative.
How do you share your screen?
Go scroll down.
It literally says share screen right here.
Yep. You guys learn new skills on Zoom
Yeah.
today. Okay. Let's see what you guys made.
Does that work?
You gotta get. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God, you guys are geniuses.
That's awesome.
It's friggin' brilliant.
That's awesome.
Now, we might have to explain this to the Chinese people, you guys. Who can explain? Hangyan does not know what this means. She can't interpret this because she doesn't have the cultural knowledge. Who can explain it to her?
This means the Chinese Spring, festival, the Chinese Spring, get the festival show, right?
Yeah, explain it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that. I know what it represents because you have been talking about the Chinese Spring Gathers, Chinese Spring Festival Gathers.
Yes, but we have to tell you about the character who's represented in the image.
Yeah, so
Oh.
Oprah has a
Who is
talk
that?
show. She did have a talk show. I don't think it's on anymore. I don't know. It's before my time. But she always would give out a bunch of stuff and be like, you get a car, and you get a car, and you get a car. And then,
You
Nice.
guys rock.
And I'm telling you this, Chinese propaganda has been very focused on their color use, and you got this color.
Red color.
Yeah,
Good point.
right color. All
Good
right.
point. So the red color made it absolutely perfect, right? Absolutely. Okay, well, sadly, you guys, we have reached the end of our time together. If it's okay with you, the amazing COM 416 students, your creativity and your imagination have totally blown us away this class. But I have to tell you, Zoey, thank you for this great class. Let's give Zoey a round of virtual applause.
Thank you so much. You guys rocks. You
Really great work tonight, team. I mean it. I am going to be sad when this class is over because Kailyn, Mira, Aaron, Matt, Nikita, Francesca, and of course you guys, our athlete friends who are watching that down there. We see you. Really great. Hey, we're glad you're here. So listen, here's what's on tap for next week, right? For next week, our topic is Russian propaganda. Holy shit. So if you thought Chinese propaganda was interesting, boy, the topic of Russian propaganda is in the news all the time, isn't it? Yes, it is, because we're worried that maybe Mr. Trump's election was influenced by the Russians. So next week, we are really excited to have a guest speaker from Russia. And here's what I want you to do to be ready for learning from her. So first of all, I want you to prepare for an interview. Prepare to ask good questions of our guest speaker. She's not going to come with a presentation. She's going to come and sit and respond to whatever questions you want to ask her. So you better have some questions ready. Now, she's a PhD scholar and expert in media and communication from Temple University. To prepare for this space, this learning experience, the first thing we'd like you to do is we want to make sure you understand the similarities and differences between capitalism and socialism by watching John Green's 10-minute crash course on the topic. It's hilarious, it's fascinating, and as you watch this 10-minute video, why don't you document one aha that occurs to you as you watch, because this is a freak out kind of video. So do that with the annotation tool. Then we'd like you to take a look at a piece of propaganda from Russia from the olden days and see if you can identify what stereotypes do Russians have about Americans, right? So see if you can spot some of the many stereotypes that are there. And then these are 3 pretty short articles. So to prepare to interview Dr. Lisa Friesen, read these 3 short articles. And then use the Google Doc to summarize and comment on one idea from each piece. So I'm looking for each student to contribute one idea for each piece. So there's this really interesting article about the propaganda, about Russian propaganda, right? A really interesting piece in the New Yorker on the whole set of questions about what indeed constitutes Russian propaganda. Then the interesting article about the TV network you might be familiar with, RT. RT is the official propaganda television channel of the Russian government. And this is taking a sweet time to load. But learning more about RT will help us understand about virality and about propaganda. So when is a TV channel a foreign agent? With this guy, the author, wondering, should RT register, right, as a lobbyist instead of a journalist? And then a piece by Peter Pomerantsev in 2014 called Russia and the Menace of Unreality. The basic claim is that Putin is revolutionizing information warfare, right? And that what we have to do is understand that his rise and the rise of his influence is because of the very sophisticated approach he has to disinformation, right? And information manipulation as a form of war. So we're really likely to have a great conversation. Now, before I let you go, I wanted to say one thing about the quiz. Lots and lots of you actually did not take quiz 3, and that's probably due to my poor communication skills or for some other reason. So I'm going to open up quiz 3 again tonight, and I'm going to leave it open all day tomorrow in case you happen to miss it. And I'm also giving you advance notice of the 4th quiz, which will be next Thursday, and that'll be our last quiz. So that's really getting you ready for Leap 4, where you have a really great opportunity to engage in the hard work, but the good work of synthesis. Remember, in the Leap 4, you're really trying to pull things together and come up with some themes. Maybe you guys will come up with like a David Letterman style 10 things I learned about propaganda, right? Who knows, right? Maybe you'll synthesize it in a multimedia way. But the point of Leap 4 is to get you to reflect on the ideas that this course that have been most meaningful to you, and to build bridges between what you've been reading about and your own life experience, and about trying to express yourself using 2 different modes of expression. Remember that in Create to Learn, you have to choose 2 formats to express yourself, right? And so I think next week we'll be talking to Dr. Lisa Friesen. We'll be thinking more about Russian propaganda in the context of the Trump election and in the context of the larger global issues. It should be a lot of fun. So let's say our goodbye for this week with our fingers. Are you ready? I love this. This is my favorite part of the whole class.
I propose a Chinese way of
is there a Chinese one we should do, Zoe?
We should do this.
Okay. And because that means, what does it mean?
That means respect.
It means respect.
Yeah.
I show respect to my great Comp 416 people. Love you guys. See you next week.
See you. Bye.